It's nice to be here. ரெண்டு நாளா வந்து ஸ்டார்ட்அப் திருவிழா அப்படின்னு வச்சிருக்காங்க. Thiruvizha is like we are all here to celebrate, and I was just wondering when Shivaraja sir told me that there will be a session on unleashing entrepreneurship. I was wondering, what are we celebrating here? This is, I think we are all celebrating this land and its people because it has achieved a lot on the business and industrial landscape over the years. And why are we celebrating? ஏன் நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டை வந்து செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறோம், தமிழ் மக்களை செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறோம், தமிழ் இங்கே வந்திருக்கிற தொழில்களை செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறோம் அப்படின்னா, it's a dream land actually. And only in a dream land, only when there is a dream, where can you dare to dream? Only when there is, this is only in a land of promise. So I was just going through the numbers, a quick recap on the numbers on what Tamil Nadu has achieved so far. This is the second largest economy in the country, growing well above the national average. And factories, it has almost 40,000 factories. It exports, it's the third largest exporter. Almost 9% of country's exports are from Tamil Nadu. And not just big factories, MSMEs பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 50 லட்சம் MSMEs இருக்குங்கிறாங்க. That's unimaginable, and it's 50% of it are in rural areas. And they make some 6,000 different kinds of products. These are all like incredible statistics. So we naturally have to celebrate it. And well, this alone, we are not resting there. நேத்திக்கு மினிஸ்டர் சொன்னார், in the last 2 years, we have tripled the number of startups that we have. So some 6,000 startups, and they are spread across 30 sectors, from fishery to art to deep tech and fintech, name it, our startups are there across sectors. And is it just that? No, we have a strong vision. We are marching towards a 1 trillion economy, which means we need about 23 lakh crores of investment. And when investments comes, there are jobs. So we have two people here who are going to talk to us on how we are going to march ahead with this vision. And yes, we can start with Mr. Vishnu. Sir, the statistics say that we are strong in both emerging sectors and traditional sectors. So do you think the industrial landscape of Tamil Nadu is going through a transition, or how is it? What is the on-field reality now?
Okay, good that you started off on the right perspective, because you said India is Tamil Nadu is the second largest economy. Let me just contextualize in a global scenario, because let's be very clear, Tamil Nadu is on a global stage. We are part of a global supply chain. We are integrated closely to the other regional economies of the world. It's not necessarily the national economy. In that perspective, our GDP is around 300 billion US dollars. On a global scale, this means we are among the top 50 economies in the world. That perspective is very important. I mean, we are the second largest economy. First is Maharashtra, but minus Mumbai, we top. So we have a well-diversified economy in a global perspective. Now, having said that, 3 major shifts are happening across the world. Number one, there seems to be a resurgence on the hope of India as a country. China plus one strategy is real. We have seen entire supply chains moving out from China and the East Asian economies to India. And fortunately for us, Tamil Nadu seems to be lapping this up. 3 out of 4 iPhone products made in India are from Tamil Nadu. iPhone 15 production is, as per news reports, commenced production yesterday from Tamil Nadu. The entire value chain of Adidas, Nike and Puma, the non-leather footwear sector, has moved out from Vietnam and China to Tamil Nadu. Pouchen is the world's largest supplier of Adidas. They're setting up their major factory in Tamil Nadu. So point number one is a shift in the way global offshoring or outsourcing is taking place. Number two, transition in energy. Big. Every major company is looking at how their energy is green. Fortunately for us, again, we have a significant share of our resources from renewable energy. Third is data and AI. Very big. Every single major decision are taken on that. Tamil Nadu, I'm not sure how many of you know that, has the highest bandwidth capacity thanks to the submarine landing cables in Chennai. It is also the SAS capital. It's also becoming very, very active in the data center spaces. So data, global offshoring, and the energy mix product is creating ripples, and Tamil Nadu is fortunately taking advantage of all these shifts. And this is how the industrial landscape is slowly transitioning.
So, Mr. Shankar, if you see what Mr. Vishnu has said, it means that we have the basics that are required for any business to grow, right? We have power, we have bandwidth, we have, and globally we are recognized for these strengths also. But when you interact with the industries on a daily basis, not only that, like we have people who now want to come to Tamil Nadu to either invest or to work. We are seeing a huge attraction even inland from. So do you, when you interact with the industries on a daily basis as the CIA head, do you see this, a reflection of these views? How is it?
I think the strengths for Tamil Nadu have been consistent. I think one strong point that we should be very proud about the fact is that we have been a consistent player and certainly emerging. When I say consistency, it's not the same. I think we are consistent in whatever we do. We also embrace the new equally. Because you asked me of what industry is feeling, I think we are at a very definite sort of interesting crossroads. I think when I say interesting crossroads, we are local, we are national, we are global. Our industry has to compete with everything, right? So there are clear strengths that we have, as Mr. Vishnu was just saying. All those are strengths, but I would place, and here we see a huge amount of youngsters. Our human capital, I think, would be our primary strength. If you ask anybody in the world, why are you coming to Tamil Nadu, they would say industrial climate and culture is great, but that is primarily built on the human capital strength as well. I think what industry now has to figure out is we have to be clear on which strengths we want to work on, what are we catering to, and in that, there are challenges. Digitalization is a strength, but it can also be a challenge. If you're a classical industry not used to it, you have to adapt. If you have some sort of skills, then you have to get deep skills. So I think industry is excited about the fact that in this emergence, there are multiple opportunities, but the race to get better, to meet those opportunities, I think we have to speed up. And our challenge is that, as I said, consistently good. When you're consistently good, if you're an 80% person, to get to 90% is very tough. If you were a 60% person, then you can get 15% higher. But for us, every step into the future is going to be hard. But then thankfully the climate is right, and hopefully we can build on that. So I think it's good, it's buoyant, but the work has to be hard and consistent.
Mr. Vishnu, when you talk to investors, when you talk to potential investors, and yes, as Mr. Shankar said, skilled manpower is a strength, a strong, real strong strength for us. But as a state, are we not moving towards high value jobs compared to what we had some 10 or 20 years ago? And how do you think we should take this forward? Because the necessity of skilled labor is also going up to match these job requirements.
So I'll just take the example of EV ecosystem, because that's an emerging sector. Tamil Nadu has always been the auto capital of India. It's been our traditional strength, auto and allied industries, including the MSME sector including. So when we do this investor pitch for EV, electric vehicles, there's a whole shift of understandings, right? Starting from the skilling ecosystem. There's no longer the IC engine, which everybody studied in mechanical engineering. At the end of the day, EV is just a battery and a motor system, and then your regular transmission system. So this whole ecosystem has changed completely in terms of skilling, in terms of your understanding, in terms of number of components, in terms of vendor ecosystem, everything is gonna transition change. So when we pitch out to investors, we say that, look, Tamil Nadu has this adaptability to progress or transition from an existing strength of the auto capital to the EV ecosystem very quickly. And this is backed by rich human talent. Shankar has rightly pointed out, every time we make an investor pitch to, especially those big multinational companies, we say, and they buy this argument of TN as the skill hub of the entire country. Data also backs it up. 33 of the top 100 colleges are in Tamil Nadu. The best engineering college in the country, IIT Madras, is in Tamil Nadu. NIT Trichy, Anna University, and a whole set of private engineering colleges play a big role in pushing the state as a skill capital. So I think this is the way that we have been pitching our investors. We've been fairly successful in that front on convincing them that, look, these are our strengths and this is how it's progressing.
Yes, true. People will buy this, that it's a fact.
So far, yes.
Okay. Mr. Shankar, I know that you have Coimbatore next in CII, where you're supporting the existing industries to sort of, gear up for these new ecosystems that are developing. But is this spread across the state, and how do you help industries in all the districts match these requirements? Because there will be a competition for skilled labor from the emerging sector, the tech companies, and also from the traditional companies.
I think any transformative experience which an economy is going through, a society is going through, I think building our strengths in design, in creativity, in IP, Tamil Nadu is certainly at a point that we can't just do just any manufacturing. We are up the sort of value chain, and we have to keep working on this, which means that, as you rightly said, our competency has have to be built to another level. Because I feel we will remain a big manufacturing base, but that manufacturing will have to get value added. We will naturally assemble, we will sort of put things together, we will make for everybody else. But I think the expectation from Tamil Nadu and industry, if you want to gain value, if you want to get the profits that we aspire, we can't just be doing simple things, right? For which means you also keep touching upon, I think you mentioned even at initially, traditional industry versus emerging, right? So I think that is going to be very interesting, and even the few startups, you walk through, I think you can see the mix. You can see, at least in an event like this, you can see the mix. So at a skill level, be it a startup, be it a traditional large business, be it one of the investment that Mr. Vishnu and team will bring and keep bringing every week, we have to fight it. And young people naturally will choose. So I think creating an atmosphere where people are excited to be part of, creating a story which every company will have to engage and tell, not only to customers. I think now is a time that we might have to energize our ecosystems and tell them that we will define things. And in Coimbatore, we've been very successful in that, I would say, even for 2 generations. Companies here have been people talk about the entrepreneurial spirit, and it's fantastic. And the first thing I also wanted to tell, thank you for getting this to Coimbatore and out of Chennai. Nothing against Chennai, but the fact that entrepreneurship celebrated in this soil is natural. But I think we have to keep this going much bigger, because otherwise young people might not necessarily look at us, because today they will look at somebody joining a company in Saranambati or looking at an MNC or even going to Germany, right? So the opportunities are equal. So which means, to your question, we have to work much harder. The story has to be there. Vision for every product and service has to be built further. And to your question on what we are doing, I think industry is doing, industry associations are doing, government is doing to build the kind of work that government, Innovate and so many other things are doing, is to actually capacity build. You can't say that I've had the same process for the last 20 years and say I'm not being profitable now. Which means as an ecosystem we have to build. But thankfully, with the multiple players who are coming to invest in India, the OEM culture, what has also got built around those big companies, is also having a trickling effect. Indian companies going larger, multinational companies coming. That culture is also coming into us. But of course, it's also sector specific. You might see this more in auto, you're seeing in some amount in textile. Now certainly IT has been all-time high. But how do we get this into all sectors? I think is going to be very, very key. And organizations like ours, we have to constantly work on that to capacity build. But a nexus between the traditional and the startup has to happen. Otherwise, that culture will remain new and novel in one side, very standard and sort of traditional in the other. We have to blend this.
And Mr. Shankar, just how we were talking backstage, you were saying that, இப்போ கோயம்புத்தூருக்கு வந்தாச்சு இந்த startup திருவிழா, so we have to now, sustain this. Let us keep celebrating our entrepreneurship and startup culture. But from the CII, and like how Mr. Shankar said, how do you think you can take this across the state, where every district, every region celebrates its entrepreneurship?
I think already நடந்துட்டு இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். I mean, already this is happening. அதனால தான் வளர்ச்சி இருக்கு. Because people celebrate trade, respect business, do manufacturing. I think it's happening. Certainly events like this bring that energy up, and we were discussing this morning, and one thing I want to tell StartupTN also is while I have a feeling that this event might travel, we have to keep doing, and we will work with them to see how Coimbatore will continue to have something. ஏன்னா an ecosystem build பண்ணோம்னா ஒரு 5-10 years ஒரு activity பண்ணா தான் அதை சுற்றி இருக்கிற excitement, everybody comes together. We were very worried in the morning, 9:30, we might be the only few people, but if people are coming on a Sunday morning, not Sunday evening for A.R. Rahman, but Sunday morning for this, which means this is also a concert which is happening here. எங்களை கேட்கறக்கில்ல, but உங்களுக்குள்ள இருக்கிற அந்த excitement I think is alive. So I think to do this, it is already there, to acknowledge, bring that focus forward. And I also think it has to be a social conversation. நம்ம உள்ள பேசின மாதிரி parents place ஆயிட்டாங்களான்னு கேள்வி கேட்குற மாதிரி ஸ்டார்ட்அப் ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்களாங்கிற கேள்வி we have to bring a social conversation. And I also feel, and I know I represent a college, but the fact is all of us have to celebrate. எல்லாரும் placement number என்கிற மாதிரி startup number, maybe Mr. Shivaraja will bring a ranking for colleges very soon to say what are the startup numbers of which college. But also the fear of failure has to be removed.
Matrimony sites should put startups as one of the priorities.
We'll tell Murugavel that has to be a separate slab. அது வந்து லிஸ்டிங் மேலே போயிடும் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி.
They should have a startup.
Absolutely. But I think it's multiple things. But in the celebrating success, accepting failure, and bringing forward things, and I feel in the 1 trillion economy, நம்ம பேசும்போது இந்த trickle effect will happen everywhere. But we can't do the same things. We can't do, I mean, there are naturally what they say is copycat businesses will come, follow-on businesses will come, vendor businesses will come. But original, I somehow feel IP-related work has to happen, intellectual strength has to go. எல்லாரும் பண்ண முடியாது, but of course we should work on that is what I think. நீங்க கேட்ட இதுக்கு maybe we will not be able to do all of it in C-tier cities, but Tier 2 is possible, and it's already happening. I was there in Thoothukudi some time ago, and I had not been for a industry-related event before in my life. But it's amazing the kind of energy, activity, what is happening there. So that is the strength I think we have to work on. Thankfully, our connections are all wired. We just have to build it.